Okay, well, Tanya, thank you so much for being on the video episode, the discussion of the minor arcana. I found you through I want to say through Elizabeth Catt, who is on my publisher's imprint with me. Um,
Yeah.
and kind of that regional radical politics version of it led me to kind of your work on Trillbillies, and so I was following you on Twitter, and then I saw like radical politics meets radical sex meets tarot and the occult in your Patreon. I was like, oh God, yeah, definitely, definitely.
I know it's nice to just like, it took me a long time, like a decade, to decide that all my work is actually interconnected and people can't make me segment it.
It's a very good crossover. I was just talking to someone Friday. I said, I don't know how my life wound up this way, but just the amount of intersection I wound up just talking to people with kind of the leftist radical sex politics is just like, whoa, for a dude from Akron, it didn't quite know where they went, like the occult. So I was like, this is rad. This is great. I'm thrilled to.
Yeah, totally. So you're from Akron?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Cool. I have a lot of Ohio friends. I'm in, Whitesburg, just outside of Whitesburg, Kentucky, and I joke that all my like crews of people are basically 3 to 4 hours away from me on either end. So like in Southeast Ohio, in East Tennessee, and up in Louisville, I have like crews. Everybody is 3 hours away. I'm right in the center.
That's cool. That's really. And then just I gave kind of my random like observations. Kind of how would you describe what you do and who are you?
Well, those were pretty good random observations, but at this point, I guess I have to call myself a media maker, even though I haven't necessarily thought of myself that way. But I'm an artist, and yeah, definitely feel like an artist, just whiny, whiny, starving artist. No, I have Venice points, but I am, I've been an organizer and a pop educator and student and someone who loves to, I don't know, soak up solutions, I guess, for survival, like survival skills. Yeah, I come from a really rural place with a really in a really hardworking family, working class family, and yeah, never really felt like I fit in with academia. Like I got a bachelor's degree. I was the first in my family to get a bachelor's degree on my mom's side of my family. I have like 30 cousins. Um, and so, but I really didn't feel like I fit in there. So I've tried to kind of blaze my own trail of learning and helping other people learn and navigate ways that we survive this strange fall of capitalism we're experiencing. We seem to be experiencing. Hopefully, I guess fingers crossed. Yeah, and I think witchcraft and just magic in its all of its fun, even corny forms is really a special way to it's a special tool for organizing, for community organizing, for healing. I've been a sex educator for about 10 years, and I think that's definitely magic work. And I think organizing is really magic work and artistry. It's like an art form. And yeah, so I just have in my own life seen these. I've been a paid organizer, an unpaid organizer, with a lot of campaigns. But my work now is I've mostly tried to do healing and abolition works. I try to strike a happy medium between the two as like a value system in my life for my own survival. It's easy to get caught up in a lot of abolition work because there's a lot of it to do and it's really in our face and it's like really easy to see and touch and feel. And healing work is just as important, but it can be harder to manifest and see and feel. Yeah, so I don't know. I could go on and on in confusing ways, but yeah, most people find me through the Trillbillies. That has a big audience. That's, yeah, I guess my main kind of podcast work. But my Haint tea project was kind of an offshoot of that to fulfill some more creative and intersectional work that I wanted to explore.
I really want one of the Haint tea crop top hoodies at some point. I'm probably going to get one. We'll see.
Good. Yeah, please do. I'll send you a discount code and get it really cheap. I'll just.
So we talk about the Three of Cups. That's what we're going to talk about. And it'd be good just to hear kind of your perspective on why did we pick that card, or why does that card appeal to you?
Yeah, I was so excited when you reached out to me because I don't, I've in the last like 8 months, I've done about 50 tarot readings virtually with other people. That's not counting readings I do with friends and like family. And, I work with tarot a lot just in my own journaling practices and reflection. But it is, I don't feel like a tarot expert. One of the things I actually like about tarot is like, you can't get a master's degree in fucking tarot. It's like, I mean, maybe you could, who knows at this point, but I just love the anti-academics of it. It's like, so who's to say who's the expert here, whatever. But I just, popular education as a theory of change is like, anti-expert. We're all experts in our own experience. And I really resonate with that a lot. But I don't often get asked to do like tarot things like this. So I was really excited you asked me. And we kicked around a couple card ideas. I think the Three of Cups and maybe the Queen of Pentacles. I've been really trying to manifest some Queen of Pentacles energy in my life the past few years. And definitely think that's kind of what Haint tea is me trying to be my own Queen of Pentacles. But the Three of, one, I'm a grand water trine. So I have like 4 or 5 water placements in my chart, like my sun, my rising, my moon sign, all water. And so also just really, my best toy is a hot tub. I have a hot tub. I'm like in water every day. Yeah. I love a lake. I love a pool. I love the ocean. Like, I'm just really moved by water. It's like one of my favorite magic tools, really, and one of my favorite healing elements. Take a lot of baths throughout my life. I was the kid who cried every time they had to get out of the bath. And so cups, I think, just come to me a lot. I resonate with them a lot. Definitely just love the cups. And I like to use tarot cards in my magic work. So not just pulling random cards, but to find certain cards that I want to work with in particular and laying them out under the moon or putting them on my altar. And so I work with cups cards a lot. Feel free to interrupt me at any point if I'm just getting too far off the trail.
I was just saying, that's a good idea. I like that.
Yeah. I've actually done some like healing rituals with friends. I've found tarot to be really helpful in moving through grief and trauma. We live in a time we don't have healthcare in this country. We have very little healthcare, and like, a lot of people where I live use prayer lists and prayer and, prayer cloths and things for healing powers. And that's very magical. And, I don't necessarily consider myself a Christian these days. Although I was raised in a Southern Baptist. I've found most of my spirituality elsewhere at this point in my life, but it's all very interconnected, right? These are all like a lot of Christian traditions were stolen from other ancient traditions, and they're all pretty intertwined at this point. There's healing power in ritual, right? To like help to create a container for someone to pass pain through so that it doesn't feel just unmanageable. And I actually was able to help my sister. I did a few rituals with her to help her move through the loss of a miscarriage. And I used some tarot cards. We pulled out like the Nine of Swords and cards about deep pain. And the Ten of Swords about it being the end of suffering, right? Like being able to release it and let go of it. So yeah, I'm no expert, although I've already debunked experts. At least try to. But yeah, I've called on the tarot many times to help move through a lot of things and celebration. And one thing I love about the Three of Cups is it's all about celebration, right? And you know, I jokingly call myself a pleasure activist, thanks to the work of Adrienne Marie Brown, and just yeah, and just really feel like experiencing pleasure together toward liberation is equally, if not more important than experiencing and struggling together. Because I think as in our movements, we often talk about collective struggle and not enough about collective joy and celebration. And so one of the things I really love about the Three of Cups, to bring us back, is the celebration of the card. It's all about celebration and friendship and kinship. And I'm actually the oldest daughter of three girls. And so I personally often think of me and my sisters when I pull the Three of Cups. We don't always have the best relationship. It's not always a celebration when we're together, for sure, because family is complicated. But you know, my mom growing up would always buy like things in threes for us, of course, but also like if she would buy if she would see a whatnot with like a mama elephant and three babies, she would, you know, she had a lot of whatnots and shit around the house to represent all of us. Her like three, you know, there's just a lot of threes. Like she has these three epic snowmen that she pulls out around Christmas time, around winter, and puts them out. They're like the three, you know, it's a lot of three symbolism I experienced growing up, and I think I just like the number three, and you know, I think it's a nice. I mean, you could look around my house probably and see like. Even behind me, you can see there's like bits of sets of three pots. I think aesthetically, I just end up like gravitating toward this number. But then, so there's all that, but then also there's a sex piece to this. Of course, there always is. So, you know, a lot of people think of the Two of Cups, you know, it's a very like almost like a marriage card, like a union type thing, the Two of Cups. And I also want us to get to Trillium. So I don't know, you'll have to heavily edit this. I just never shut the fuck up. I'm sorry.
We're gonna short. They're getting like to like the half-hour point now. I'm not gonna. They're good. I'm gonna let them.
I'm sorry.
It's perfect. I'd rather it be a half hour than a half hour I have to edit down to 5 minutes. I'll lose my mind. I'd rather just play the whole. Great.
Oh, thanks. Sorry. Yeah, so the Two of Cups being really like the union, maybe the sex card, maybe the hookup card, because I've done a few like pleasure tarot workshops where I talk about how to use the cards to navigate, you know, your sex life and that kind of thing. So I've kind of, in a fun way, started thinking about the Three of Cups as could be the threesome card. So it means you might be like, there might be a threesome in your future if you're like really working with the tarot and pleasure stuff and you get the Three of Cups. I think it might be a sign maybe there's a threesome in your future, or should be. Maybe you can try to start manifesting that.
Yes, I would agree. I think that is for sure. Let's go.
Yeah, the cups are definitely very emotional.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. So for our deck, and then I want to talk to you about what decks you use, but for our deck, we pick flowers for all the cups, right? So each suits a sign. Wands are trees, cups, flowers, birds are swords, and then the kind of just, let's call them arthropods, bugs, insects, spiders, whatever, are pentacles. And the trillium in our was kind of just, it was that celebratory aspect we wanted to carry, and we had to have that, like, just that release from spring. But also I really like the idea of how ants did some wild stuff. So like the trillium seeds get dispersed by this term called, it's a biological term called mimicry or something like that. I'm not saying it right, but it's basically a Greek mashup meaning ants dance. So the ants come and like disperse their seeds and do this like weird dance with their seeds. It's rad. It's a like this cross species sex act celebration feast.
Wow, I love that. I had no idea.
And it's super cool. It's but that's kind of where we went with it. I just be curious.
Yeah, it makes total sense. Also, it's, you know, 3 leaves. There's a lot of just literal yeah, and there are the trillium grow around my house, luckily, and so I cut them and bring them in, and I've had like trillium bouquets in here, and I actually have a couple witch and herbalist friends who were like, maybe don't cut so many, it's not the best. Make sure you don't get them at the root, so that way they come back. Like there's a certain way to harvest them, and I'm like so thankful to have those resources in my life to help me figure out how to be a good steward of land around me. But I actually wanted to share. I text one of those friends, and before this, and just said, "Hey, what do you use trillium for?" Because her and I've talked about trillium before, and she helped me figure out how to identify it. Because we do have a lot around here. There's just a shit ton, and it's all kinds of different colors. The ones around my house are all white. They're beautiful. But yeah, it's just such a beautiful flower. But the witch herbalist friend that I texted said, I don't use trillium because it's really super plentiful here, but not many other places. And I thought that was really special to like know about. How special it is. It's not plentiful in other places, but it is here. And they said, I just use them for good vibes, which is what I do. And like the Three of Cups is such the good vibes card. And they just sent that simple answer. And I was like, perfect. Yeah. Good. The good vibes flower. So bringing in a few and having them out. And actually a funny story that we have 5 minutes left. So keep me grounded here. But, I just went out to Montana, actually just went out to the West Coast to Washington with my sister in her RV. We had a really fun cross-country road trip that made me very tired. I never want to leave the house again. But I went from 0 to 60 on travel after quarantine. Yeah. Like we got vaccinated, and then I had to help my sister move to the West Coast. But I got to, one of the most special things that we did on our trip was we spent a few days in Glacier National Park, and they were still plowing the snow off the mountain. And there they have a road called Going to the Sun Road, and it crosses over like the big mountain in Glacier. And they had it closed down to cars still because they were still plowing, but you could bike it. So we rented e-bikes, because I can't legit back up a mountain, so I like had the extra push, thank God. But we backed up a mountain, and there was tons of trillium. Like in a car I probably wouldn't have noticed it, but there was like trillium sprinkled throughout this place in this like higher altitude in Montana. And I was so shocked. Like I took pictures of it just to make sure that it's actually what it was, and even though I was pretty sure it was. But can you believe that?
No, that's awesome. That's so cool.
It was wild. There were hardly any flowers blooming. Like there weren't flowers around, but I saw there were like a few different places going up this mountain on this bike ride where there were like little batches, because they do often, kind of bloom together in a little patch. Yeah. But there were multiple patches of trillium, white ones too, like here. And I was just like, this is so blessed. I'm so fucking blessed.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I have maybe one more question for you. So tell me a little bit about what decks do you normally use? What are your kind of go?
Oh yeah. So the first let me get myself together. I was about to tell you my first deck and bring you all the way up, but that's not necessary. Right now, I'm using the She-Wolf deck. Which I'd saved up for. It's a pretty expensive deck, which normally I'm a little pissed about for like a $70 deck, but it is a gorgeous artwork. It's a lot of skinny femmes, but some body diversity, but it's really different than other decks I've had. The interpretation of the cards, which I really like, and the artwork is beautiful, and it's very femme and like pastel colors. I like that. But every new year, I try to start using a new deck for my like everyday, like my own work, because I don't like to give other people readings with the deck until I've worked with it on my own for a year. And so I do daily daily pulls. I do a week ahead spread every Sunday, and then journal each day. And then I do I'll do a new moon or a full moon spread, or just random spreads if I'm just like, what the fuck is going on with the deck, with my deck. So currently that's She-Wolf that I'm using every day for my daily work. But I don't use that for other readings with other people yet, because I don't feel comfortable enough with it yet. But last year, my deck, which is probably my favorite deck, I used the Modern Witch deck. Have you seen it?
I've seen it, but I can't picture it right this second. I know.
The author is Lisa Sterrell. I hope I'm saying that right. And she's actually from Ohio. She's from Columbus. And she followed me on Twitter. I lost my shit. So we're Twitter mutuals. We're actually good friends. No, we're not. But I love the Modern Witch deck, and I recommend it to anyone. It's a cheap, like it's like a $25 deck, like totally reasonable price, and it's really queer, really femme. Because traditional tarot is very, it's very binary, especially
Yeah.
gender wise, very hierarchical, and it's just really imaginative and queer and feminine. I love it so much, and that's the deck that I like to use the most for readings with other people. And I find that I miss it once I started using the new She Wolf deck this year. I miss my my Modern Witch deck.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. I'm gonna have to look at that. I like both those. I have to look those up.
Yeah, definitely get the Modern Witch deck. And then so yeah, I recommend that to a lot. And then of course there was like, along the lines of thinking about like your all's deck with the flower, like flora and fauna. And I've gifted to a few people the Kim Cran's deck. It was like the bestseller for a couple years, the Wild Unknown deck. It's really pretty, and I think it is a nice starter deck for people if they don't want to do the Rider Waite. I know a lot of people use the Rider Waite as a starter, but
yeah,
I think my favorite thing about tarot is it is art. It is like art that you can get really intimate with. I'm definitely the bitch who's in a art museum wanting to touch everything. I'm a real tactile learner, and you can't do that. But with tarot, it's like really incredible art that you can touch and feel and build a relationship with.
that's amazing. That's a great description of it. That's awesome.
Yeah, and I love deck. I prioritize decks that come with their own guidebook because I really love the artist interpretations of the cards. I think it adds, it like almost, I don't know, it adds such a special, like art to artist connection, and I like that. Do y'all have your own guidebook with your deck?
We don't have it's interesting. So Belt published the book first. So the book was a collection of essays around the major arcana, but they're all through the lens of the Great Lakes wildlife. And
Gotcha.
when we were doing that, we said we should do a deck. And David,
Yeah.
who's like, that's 56 more. And I was like, yeah, it's 56.
I love that the book came first.
Yeah, the book came first. It was gonna be just a standalone as the book, and so that was. I have to send you one. I'll send you one. I bought a bunch from their sale they had, and Belt's awesome. Like
Awesome. Yeah, I love Belt Publishing.
Anne and Martha and that crew are awesome. So that's been cool. But the book actually came first. So,
Awesome.
but it's not. I've had to publish a subsequent like a couple of zines or small things just to kind of give people the background on the biology on why some of these plants were selected for where they are in the deck, like because it's not always apparent from like the art or the choice or and I don't I put my description, so there's descriptions on the cards which I think are kind of limiting, but a lot of people that were buying this were like wildlife biologists and stuff, so I wanted to give
I love that
little milepost like this is where you're at, but I think so I'm hoping to get the zine more finalized, like one that kind of comprehensively talks about the rest, but that's what I'm working on at some point.
love that. Yeah. When I worked at Apple Shop, I did some bulk ordering through Belt, and they were really sweet and wonderful to work with. Getting like Elizabeth's new book when she dropped What You're Getting Wrong About Appalachia. I was working there, and we kept it stocked in our little store. It was really nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's so sweet. I have a question for you. So, you're a biologist, is that right? Or
regrettably, no. That's what I study primarily in my like hobbies life. I'm
gotcha.
I'm an expert.
There you go. Expert biology. Yeah. Well, I wonder, a lot of, in addition to pleasure activism, Adrienne Marie Brown has a book called Emergent Strategy, all about biomimicry. I'm saying that right. And I was wondering if you are familiar with any of that stuff and just thinking about, all the things we have to learn from the natural world. And
Absolutely. That's one of the things that I try to focus on. It's me and my number one plant ally. We're out there, regularly kind of trying to take what we can, knowledge and understanding wise and kind of communion wise. It's been awesome. I've looked at biomimicry a little bit, kind of the way that like the Rocky Mountain Institute guys want to do, like the Fibonacci spiral sequence of super efficient fan architectures and things like that. It's super cool.
Wow.
But I think I like the idea of kind of thinking more like an old dirty old owl and like what she want to do. Like I like her style. Like I want to know, like a summer tanager that flew his ass here, and he's like fields full of bugs, and there's some hot tail flying around, and like so I want to learn more.
Yeah.
I don't want to learn how to design fans. I want to learn what it feels like to be top of it.
Like totally. Like how are these mushrooms communicating better than humans communicate? Yes. Explain it. Make it make sense.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tanya, this is awesome. Thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. It was great to meet you. And you sent me a link to the deck. I need to go get it. I've just been on the road basically since we talked first.
I can hunt you down a copy. I'll send it to you. That's easy.
Yeah, let's do a trade. I'll send you a crop top.
Oh, amazing. Done.
I'll send you my little it's funny when I dropped that design that's on the crop, like on my t-shirts and sweatshirts, and I have little hankies and stuff. An artist in Pittsburgh did that for me, and when it came out, it is modeled like a tarot card, and people are like, are you dropping your own tarot deck? I was like,
I was thinking one
image. This is one fucking image. I can't even begin to think about how difficult a whole tarot project would be. So congratulations that you made it all the way through an entire tarot project. It sounds so fun, but also so daunting.
It took a while, but I'm grateful to David who did the artwork, because we did it together, but I wasn't the one who had to draw it. Thank God.
Yeah. Woo. Well, yeah, it's beautiful from what I've seen. So yeah. Go have a threesome. I think that's the message. The Three of Cups is giving all of us. Go.
I'll let my partner know. She'll be thrilled.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much, Tanya. I'll shoot you a note. You're on Twitter. I'll shoot you a note on Twitter actually, because that the Patreon inbox for me is slow. I got to go through a couple of channels. Is it okay if I just shoot you a note on Twitter?
Yeah, please. Yeah, totally. Absolutely. And I can email you if you don't have my email. But Twitter is fine. That way I can find you on Twitter. That'd be good. And people can find all my stuff at haint.com.
Okay, that's awesome. Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye.